I'll put in a work order to have the audience camera fix it.
I didn't realize we could do this. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Way to come through for that, 'cause I'm not your tech person.
So you know what drop means? Presentations, all move presentations. Drive, share election, then all the presentations. I drive presentations, share elections. Right now, I'm in with the girls. I'm gonna have to so you got the container.
It was with the open session, new business.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you just trying to do one case now. So
Grab your pot here.
Right, what's the
Where's this? Yeah. This might not be your department, but there's only seconds. Calixto Diaz? Calixto Diaz here.
Excited for the dinner? Are you gonna do it? I really want to. I want to do it. Yeah. And it's slow because I have to keep it. It's like you didn't. I want to do it. Mitch doesn't want to do it, but I'm down to the rest of the idea.
Wait, Greenup.
Oh, the all of IA except you're doing the core run, so you're
No,
gonna
not all of it. Huh?
It's a mile behind. I know, but I told myself I would get better at saying no.
Oh, come on.
It's what are you doing at 5:45 on a Friday morning? You know, so you're talking about the one with the corn thing? Yeah.
The 20th. Thursday the 20th. Because MSC Town Hall Tuesday, Wednesday, barbecue. Woo to that! And your gavel. I don't know if I did it wrong by starting it. I don't know if it paused it.
I think it's fine. I'll get off this.
All right, you ready? Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I call this meeting to order at 7:07 on September 5th. We will start with opening roll call. Pro Tem Banks.
All right, SVP Sharp. Howdy. Chief Justice Newman.
Howdy.
Speaker Parker.
Howdy.
Chair Wilson.
Howdy.
Chair Mandel.
Howdy.
Chair Walther.
Howdy.
Chair Mendoza.
Howdy.
Chair Powell.
Howdy.
Chair Arboyoso.
Howdy.
Senator Meany.
Howdy.
Senator Barber.
Howdy.
Senator Benke. Howdy. Senator Berger. Senator Black.
Howdy.
Senator Carlson.
Howdy.
Senator Carter.
Howdy.
Senator Castellanos.
Howdy.
Senator Chimano.
Howdy.
Senator Collar.
Howdy.
Senator Day. Senator DeGreat. Senator Elizondo. Senator Fisher.
Howdy.
Senator Lieberman.
Howdy.
Senator Golter.
Howdy.
Senator Gupta.
Howdy.
Senator Herrera.
Howdy.
Senator Hipschman.
Howdy.
Senator Hall.
Howdy.
Senator Crowe.
Howdy.
Senator Lopez.
Howdy.
Senator Maldonado.
Howdy.
Senator Macias.
Howdy.
Senator Maples. Senator Martin.
Howdy.
Senator McGill. Senator Moreno, Alejandro.
Howdy.
Senator Luis Moreno.
Howdy.
Senator Mussel.
Howdy.
Senator Nabila. Senator Nava.
Howdy.
Senator Oldham. Senator Palmer.
Howdy.
Senator Pauls.
Howdy.
Senator Papula.
Howdy.
Senator Quintana. Senator Quintar.
Howdy.
Senator Ramirez. Senator Reyes. Senator Roberts. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Salazar.
Howdy.
Senator Scogan. Senator Schaefer.
Howdy.
Senator Siegel. Senator Thompson.
Howdy.
Senator Tillman.
Howdy.
Senator Tran.
Howdy.
Senator Ulick.
Howdy.
Senator Wataka.
Howdy.
Senator Walter.
Howdy.
Senator Michael Walther.
Howdy.
Senator Weeks.
Howdy.
Senator Young.
Howdy.
Senator Zunder. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move into a period of moment of silence and pledge of allegiance led by Senator Fisher. If you all please rise.
As you know, we had silver death where we commemorating. That's I'd like to read their names and also have Emily Lynn Chaffin, Finance Major, William Montgomery, Monty, Agriculture Economics, Mr. Eric Kyle Hansen, General Studies, Mr. Mizrad Manzavi, Mathematics, Mr. Adolfo Payan, Geology, Mr. Alan Chuang Khan, Biomedical Sciences, Ms. Anna Dryden Wagner, Biomedical Sciences, Mark Christopher Wilson, Oncology.
Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Senator Fisher. We'll now, please remain standing. We'll now go into reading of the mission statement and Aggie honor codes, led by our longest serving senator, which is Senator Krogh.
Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. And Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those.
We'll now move into a singing of the spirit of Aggieland. Please be seated. We'll now move into a period of open forum, starting with Tate Banks, who is representing SGA. You have 5 minutes starting at howdy.
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 So I just want to say two things. One, as you all know, Senator Gano was one of those honored silver caps last night. And number two, we have this giant oversized thank you card for Dr. Coldis, for whom still needs name. He is moving into a retirement home. We just wanted to send this. So if you haven't already signed this, I'm going to be passing this around, and y'all can definitely do that. I've got some markers. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you. Oh, SVP Sharp.
Can I just clarify, the card is just a thank you card though? Don't like mention, hey, you go to retirement home. This is like thank you for like all laying the foundation of all this.
You're pretty good at
Seeing no other questions, thank you very much. We will now recognize Christian Castellanos, representing Camp Kesem. 5 minutes starting at howdy.
Howdy, Senate.
Hi.
Hi, I'm here to talk to you about Camp Kesem, which is an organization on campus. We're a national organization, and each chapter puts on a summer camp every year for children whose parents have died from, or survivors of, or are currently battling cancer. New members. It's a really great and rewarding organization, and it really helps those kids process what's happened to them and have a week of fun where they don't have to think about realities of their lives. And it's great for the parents too, because it's hard to take care of a child when you're trying to take care of yourself. I'm going to pass around some flyers, and with that, I yield the question.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you very much. I will now recognize Madison Poe, who is here on behalf of Global Brigades. 5 minutes starting at howdy.
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 My name is Madison Poe, and I'm president of the Global Don't Pride Brigade. We're a new organizational offset of the current global medical brigade. What we do is take a group AM students to Honduras twice a year, in January and also in May or August. We provide pro bono legal work to the outside government. So the case that we started, so this is like the staff that really did all along 2.5. So it's a great experience. If any of you are willing to go or wanting to go to law school, it could be at first legal field abroad, as well as a great volunteer experience because you're getting like free resources. Great access. So my vice president is going to say a little about the brigade itself.
So on the brigade for Honduras, the cost is anywhere between $1,200 to $1,700 based on what flights you can get, and packages have been fluctuating a lot lately. As well as we have our applications open all the way to next Friday. So we're going to be sending out a mass email at 10:15 tomorrow to all of the ANM students. So if you'd like to apply and join us, let's go.
Oh, and the brigade dates are January 3rd. I know you requested.
Are there any questions for the presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. We'll now recognize Amy Williamson, who's here on behalf of the Aggie Honor System. You have 5 minutes, starting.
Hi, so my name is Amy Williamson and I work in the office. If all of you will go to AggieHonor.com right now on any device that you have, work with me, let me know when you're there. AggieHonor.com. And I'm not here to scare you, I'm here to recruit you. So if you all enjoy this kind of work, we are now accepting applications on the Honor Council panel, and you are already halfway to applying by being on the website. Scroll down to Honor. Applications are live. Applications close on Friday, this Friday at 5 p.m., which I know is in a matter of hours to some of you, but we need more of you. So panels consist of 2 faculty and 2 Honor Council students, and students from anywhere on campus. Undergraduate, if it's a graduate student, then you'll have to be appointed. But if you know of any students that are looking to get involved, please encourage them to come to the Aggie office and apply. Application takes about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how in-depth you want your answers to be. And the time commitment is really about 3 hours a month, so that's a lot less than a lot of the organizations you're already part of, and one of those hours includes free lunch. So if you want free food and come hang out with the Aggie office, oh, now it's the next question.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you. Now recognize Reagan Thompson, who's here representing Aggie Dems. 5 minutes, starting. Howdy.
Howdy, sir. As everyone knows, the fall 2018 elections are coming up. So regardless of who you're voting for, I want to make sure that you're registered to vote. So after the Senate meeting, I am going to be staying behind to register everybody vote here, and Brian has hand. So if you have any questions about registering to vote, please come to me afterwards. I really look forward to answering any questions again, regardless of who you're voting for. The second thing I wanted to promote is that we are hosting Beto this weekend. He is coming to the Wayside Food Park. It's a bunch of food trucks and things like that. It's just going to be a town hall where he answers a bunch of questions and stuff like that. So if you've never heard Beto work, it's a great time to come out. It's going to be this Sunday at noon in Wayside Food Park. You can find details on Facebook. But if you have any questions about that also, thank you. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Senator Moreno. Please stand and say your name and caucus. Please stand. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so you can vote on November 6th. That's the general election, and then for 2 weeks prior to that, there's like, I don't have the dates off the top of my head, but there's early voting.
Senator Maldonado.
Senator Maldonado on this office. Can I vote you to then?
Yes, absolutely. I'm actually in talks with the Aggie Conservatives, the Aggie Moderates, and several other political organizations on campus to do a nonpartisan registration program.
other questions? Senator Stillman.
Oh, yeah, it's Sunday, at noon, be at Wayside Park. I have the exact address, for it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Senator Thompson. We'll now recognize Ashali Chamada, who is here on behalf of MSC Wiley.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
All right, so I'm one of the directors for the MSC Wiley Lecture Series. We do programming throughout the year with one huge event in the spring. We brought world leaders from Madeleine Albright, Margaret Thatcher, 4 former U.S. presidents, Mikhail Gorbachev, former Israeli Prime Minister, former Mexican president. Anyways, really cool people. And we're one of the largest student-run lecture series in the country. And we are recruiting right now. So if you're interested, we already had our informational last night, but the applications are open until Sunday at noon. If anyone can get to me. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Seeing no questions, thank you, Senator Chamada.
Sorry.
It's okay. So we'll now move into a period of officer elections. So just a reminder, we have Student Services Chair elections today. So I'll now open the floor to nominations for Student Services Chair. Are there any nominations? Yes. Senator Hubschman, do you accept? Senator Walter.
Senator Walter May Cox would like to nominate.
Senator Black. Senator Kuntar. Senator Kuntar, Union Caucus, I'd like to nominate Senator Chamada. Senator Chamada.
Senator Shimon, College of Liberal Arts. Exit.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we will now move into a period of presentations. So if Senator Black and Senator Chamada will please leave the room with your character witnesses. Senator Hushman, you'll be going first. So just a reminder for everyone, the rules of an election: 10-minute presentation, 5-minute character witness, 5-minute question and answer. All of those can be extended or shortened. We will go through each candidate and then we will go into voting. Or debate and voting. Sorry. 10 minutes, starting at Howdy.
Thank you. Hi, Senator.
Howdy.
Hi, so it is with great pleasure that I would like and great humility that I am asking to run this chair. So my name is Zach Kitchen, and a little more about me is I was born in Albuquerque, actually. But I moved to Texas when I was 13. In addition to that, I'm a political science major with a minor in both philosophy and Spanish. I'm a first-generation Aggie, and in addition to that, I am a political science merit scholarship. But most importantly, more importantly than all of that, I am the loudest and proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2019.
Hey!
All right. So a little more about kind of the involvement that I've had, on campus. Given that I'm a senior, I have been a student for 3 years, or 3 years going into 4. So last year I was called up to the 70th session to fill a vacancy after the general spring election. During my time there, I wrote Senate Resolution 7033, which was the Barbara Bush Remembrance Resolution. In addition to that, I served on the committee or community relations committee. Also during my time at Texas A&M, I
served as the director of Flash. So I was a part of a freshman leadership organization called, yes, called Freshman Leaders Advancing in Service and Honor for 3 years. And so I initially was a member. I went on to become a mentor officer, and then my 3rd year I became the director. Through this organization, I was able to establish a relationship with the vice president of student activities, Daniel Koo. In addition to that, I was able to support 44 staff members and 90 incredibly passionate freshmen to plan a wide range of events ranging from everything from community relations to giving back to our community and other community service type acts. And of course, fundraising for the organization. In addition to that, through being director of Flash, I had the opportunity to work with a wide range of different student leaders from on campus. Mostly it was through the Flow system, which is a very large organization system that incorporates a wide range of freshmen. I believe it's anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 freshmen participate in flows. And so I was able to talk to a lot of student leaders that care very deeply about ensuring that freshmen have an opportunity to grow as leaders and find their home at Texas. So in addition to that, I've been an active member of the Broad Student Council. I was also an active member of Alpha Phi Omega, which is a co-ed service fraternity here on campus. And in addition to that, I was an employee of the sociology department for almost a year. So during my time as an employee of the sociology department, I was able to meet a ton of different faculty, a ton of different PhD students, that's including one that I became especially close to, which was Chad Mandela. Now, he runs the GLBT Resource Center here on campus, and I truly found my respect for him. Also, not a lot of people know this, but he is actually a sociology PhD student. We were initially started our relationship just as friends, but it kind of bloomed into working on a professional manner and working towards ensuring that we provide resources for our GLBT here at Texas. In addition to that, I had the opportunity last summer to go on the Summer European Academy, just to study abroad in the political science department. Yes. And so during that time, I was able to talk to and meet such a wide range of other people who study politics, who don't even study politics. When I was in Warsaw, I met a girl who was about to enlist in the Russian military. That's not something you get to do every day, and to hear that perspective and that view is, well, it's eye-opening, that's for sure. And so, in addition to that, so these are some of the programs that I've implemented throughout my 3 years at Texas University. So I ran Plaza-Palooza my sophomore year, which was a wide-scale carnival-style event to raise awareness and funds for Twin City Missions, which is a local nonprofit here that works towards homeless shelters, food kitchens, and sexual or domestic violence shelters. In addition to that, I spearheaded new policies in Flash, including for the first time ever, we created a scholarship program, which students who couldn't afford things like the dues or t-shirts or other costs that is associated with the organization could come to us for help, and we could pull out of that set aside funds to ensure that they could still fully participate. In addition to that, we expanded the anti-discrimination policy to include and make sure that all of our staff knew how that we must incorporate all gender identities are have equal opportunities within Flash. In addition to that, my sophomore year, I led a committee called our Give Back Committee, which focused on raising funds for local charities. We did work with Shackathon, and I'm proud to say that that committee successfully raised enough funds to be the only double shack on campus that year, and that was an awesome thing. It was about $2,000 that we were able to donate to that. All right, so this is kind of going more into my goals for the Student Services Chair. So I believe the Student Services Chair incorporates a lot of things that directly impact students' attendance. So some of the things that I really find to be some of the most important aspects are we need more cooperation and communication. And that includes with the executive branch, that includes with outside entities. We cannot blindside outside entities with legislation. They must know that legislation is coming at them, and we must be able to do a research in advance. I believe that is the job of the Student Services Chair, as any student services bill that goes to the committee must be looked at to the fullest extent possible, and it must be the job of the Student Services Chair to communicate with outside organizations to say, hey, we're writing or we're researching this piece of legislation, and this might impact you or affect you. How do you feel about it? And just be ready if we do pass it. In addition to that, so I've learned through a lot of meetings with a lot of people that Chartwell's, we're currently renegotiating our contract with Chartwell's. In this, there are two big things that I do want to see Chartwell's and our dining services improve. And that is, I want to see more access to healthier dining options. Not have a wide range of healthy dining options on campus. And there are students who do not have easy transportation to a grocery store, and there is no grocery store within walking distance of this campus. This being said, accessing fresh produce is not an easy thing for every student on this campus. In addition to that, we must be smarter with recyclable resources. The biggest thing that I am definitely going to make a priority if selected as the SS chair, and even if I'm not selected as the SS chair, is going to be investigating the MSC and see whether the compost is actually being composted. And also ensuring, I know there was policies that were put in place to put stickers on it from the compost to ensure that those could inform students what can be composted and what can't. A lot of students. I don't believe that was ever done. I've walked in there many times, and that needs to be something that we do in success. Additionally, I want to see we can have Panda Express and other restaurants that are on campus. They can turn to composting their food containers.
2 minutes.
Not a difficult process at all, and I think that would be another great step towards making our campus more sustainable. So this is my other policy: is we all know just by looking around that we're very well on the edge of having a transportation crisis. We have a very, very overwhelmed transportation system that cannot deal with the large number of students that we keep on. So we need to find creative solutions to improve our transportation system. That's not an easy thing to do. And I can't say that I have all the answers right now, but I can tell you that one of the first steps I would take as a student services chair is to create a transportation subcommittee that's focused purely and incorporates senators from every committee, which focuses purely on finding solutions, given we have a very limited number of funds. So this being said, all of my goals that I do have, and I have many more goals, definitely, do not equal to my number one priority for this.
1 minute.
My first priority is to ensure that all senators have the resources, support, and voice to implement their ideas to improve the lives of students at this university. I want to be there as a resource. I want to be able to help with any communication and be there for a resource for any senator that's writing a piece of legislation that affects and impacts students. That is my number one goal, and I think that priority goes beyond and incorporates all of the other priorities. I believe that cooperation, communication, is our ability to
Motion.
No alternates for this motion.
Being multiple seconds, all those in favor of extending the period of presentation by 1 minute, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes.
And so I believe that the most important thing that we can do is cooperate and find solutions to these goals by ensuring that that every single senator here has that opportunity to. I know I've talked to so many senators here, and they all have different ideas about how we can fix our transportation issues, dining services, how we can make our campus more inclusive and diverse. There's so many ideas out there, and we must be able to put that into legislation rather than just talk or tweet about it. And so that would be one of my number one priorities, is to ensure that we can all work together towards finding these solutions. And I would love to be a resource. All right. So my vision for the committee is primarily pretty much what I said, is in that mandate. We need to ensure that the committee does research on these bills, meets oftenly, and I envision a student services committee where we pass legislation, a lot of legislation, because there are so many
30
different issues that
seconds.
are incorporated. And so, with that being said, I think that ends my presentation. So I will now open the floor to questions.
Thank you very much. We will now move into a period of question and answer, starting with Senator Carter.
So what other ideas in regards to healthier
Okay, so I definitely like, so some of the policies that, the Vice President of Student Services has actually, talked about a little bit, was talking about getting certain other like resources that provide healthier options for like, making your own meals that are easy to do in a microwave and stuff like that. And you can buy those in like little boxes, and so you can put those into like our, Aggie Express and certain things like that. I think it's a great idea. In addition to that, just, go to an Aggie Express and you buy banana, and honestly, they look and feel like they're 5 years old. We need fresh produce and real produce to be able to be available. And it does come at a cost because we know that produce costs more, but our Aggie Expresses, I think, focus that we can start putting in more fresher food there. We can start looking at hiring and contracting with other, outside organizations outside of Chartwell to make sure that that food, that food can actually, like be really fresh. And, in addition to that, I would love to see some new restaurants. It's a stretch and it's something that's very difficult to do. But I think that it is definitely a goal that's out there, is to get some different ranges of restaurants that are not primarily fried chicken on our campus. Thank you for your question.
Chair Powell,
Chair Powell, academic affairs, Commissioner Duke, campus.
briefly.
On your presentation, you had a list of all the things you've been involved in, unit testing. Can you clarify what organizations like you were a part of versus are currently a part of, and how you kind of prioritize?
Definitely. And so, believe it or not, so my 3 years in Flash, which is a lot of what I dedicated my time to, in college, is now up for this year. After becoming the director, you back and kind of take control of the organization. So, currently, I am a member of the Broad Student Council, and, other than that, that's the only organization that I feel active in. And so my priority would definitely be student services. I came into Senate, but I, ran for it back in spring, with my thought process and in my mind that I would commit all of and dedicate my time to. And so this is definitely something that, I have wanted to do and wanted to dedicate my time towards. And, I believe that there's a lot of good that can happen, and so that's why I chose to run for Senate in the first place.
With 2 minutes left, Pro Tem Banks.
Pro Tem Banks, what actionable and deliverable goals?
Okay, so through my talking to Chad Mandela and, actually, an old, senator here, Carla Chunga, I've talked and discussed possibly, first of all, implementing 2 policies that I would love to, bring up, which were, I want to see more resources for the Latinx community and for first generation college. It is possible to make resource centers for these 2 groups who tend to be, very underrepresented in actual resources. And so a big thing that, I do want to say is first generation college students, they don't really like, they don't receive a lot of,
I'm gonna pause you for a second. Is there a motion?
Senator Lopez, College of Liberal Arts, I motion to extend the period of question and answer by 3 minutes.
Being multiple seconds, all those in favor of extending the period of questioning by 3 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes.
And so those resource centers are something that I do want to, eventually happen, or at least start putting the processes and steps to, really represent this. So that they're receiving that. So in addition to that, my other goals include, I know there was the, lighting project that was happening on campus. And it was originally spearheaded by, a couple other senators here and, the cabinet under Brooks. And so that project of lighting our campus in the places where it is right to prevent sexual assaults. And so we know that sexual assaults are, at least we are looking into it, see sexual assaults happen, more oftenly in poorly lit areas of our campus. And by lighting up our campus and ensuring that all of the spots that are usually very dark and underlit, are much more lit, we can try to take steps to prevent sexual assault. In addition to that, I definitely have actual goal of a transportation services. I've already mentioned. I think that's a priority, especially with growth of this university and state of our.
Senator Moreno?
Senator Moreno, College of Engineering. What are your thoughts about the yellow lights on time? Forget the name.
All right.
And how do you plan on working with something that has yellow lights on this places that are friendly?
Oh yeah, and that's a really good question. That is definitely something I know we all see because it is I do like the attempt. It's a very solid attempt to try to fix some of the transportation by having a bike share system. We've seen that work in cities before. We've seen that work in major metropolis cities. So a bike share system, I think, is a great idea. I really do. Now we do have a large problem with OFOs, like just everywhere, and so that is something that I would say that should be a priority. Is that we can work with the company towards making it a little more so that it has to be part of the bike rack somehow, but it kind of just affects the. I think the biggest thing that we do need and that we need for is to reduce the number of bikes. It's not something that I'm sure the company would like, but considering how many there are and how many are stacked up at certain very specific locations, I know I'm out of the Allen building all the time for classes, and there's one bike rack that just it's kind of like with OFOs. I think reducing the number of sizes, I think there's too many for the number of people that actually need it. And so it would be something to work with the company with to look at research, like how many, where all the OFOs are. I know they have a way to track every single OFO. And so where OFOs end up and kind of how to reduce the size of it. So that way we don't have OFOs popping up, literally everywhere all over town, and hopefully reduce. Thank you for that question.
With 1 minute and 10 seconds, Senator Fisher.
Oh, good job.
Are there any other questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you. Do you have a character witness? Would you like to introduce them?
Okay, so my character witness is one of my good friends and one of our colleagues too, which is Senator Dawson Martin, who is in the off-campus caucus, and so I'll let him do that.
5 minutes, starting at howdy.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
As Zach said, I'm Dawson Martin. I'm part of the off-campus caucus. I'm here to be a character witness today. So I got to know Zach this summer. We were on a 1-month study abroad called the Summer European Academy. Really cool experience. We studied the European Union and the politics of that. Throughout the study abroad, Zach showed a passion for the course material and learning the viewpoints of what we were discussing, and trying to understand the viewpoints of the German students as well, who oftentimes have like very different ideas because they're from the other side of the world and their whole culture is just different. So it was cool to see him try to make an effort to understand and have healthy conversation and debate about what they believe and reach conclusions that on issues that we don't normally consider here just by working through ideas with them. And I think that capacity for intelligent conversations is something that a lot of people lack nowadays. So it was good to see Zach have that. While this may not necessarily seem like it relates to Senate or the Student Services Chair, I believe it demonstrates the quality of openness to new ideas and a passion to hear out people and come up with the best solutions, which I think is essential for any leader in any position, any Senate chair, because you will be confronted with a variety of issues and ideas. So now that I've told you about his character, I'd like to give you an example of his commitment to Senate. Zach would literally hunt me down at Senate dinners, or at study abroad dinners, and social events, and oftentimes I was like, dude, get away from me. I'm not trying to talk about Senate right now. We're in Europe. I'm just trying to have a good time. But he would continually hunt me down and just talk about different issues and how the importance of being a senator is to make one person's life at Texas A&M better. He emphasized that if he could do that, he would feel like a success as a senator. And to me, that stood out, and that's exactly what we should be looking for in a student services chair. I mean, I remember one night in Belgium, Zach and I, with another one of our classmates, literally sat there and had like a mini debate about some like arbitrary issues. I don't even remember what they were anymore. And Zach was just spewing out ideas about bills and stuff that he wants to sponsor this year, such as the lighting on West Campus. That one really stood out to me because I thought that was a great idea, just something simple. It's probably actionable that we can convince the university to do because it's got a great cost behind it. So that gives an example of his commitment, and I think if you're looking for a senator who has the character to be a leader and the commitment to get things done, I don't think you have to look any further than Senator Hughes. Thank you.
Is it a motion?
Yes.
Please state your motion.
Pro Tem Banks, I move to suspend the rules and move back into a.
Seeing multiple seconds. Is this a hey, Karina? Chair Wilson, is this a debatable motion?
Yeah.
Point of information.
Point of information, yes.
Chairman, there's a great comment. Has that person already been sitting?
Those rules would have to be suspended as well.
Yes, it is debatable.
We're already on a motion, so that cannot happen. So we'll now move into a period of debate for the motion to suspend the rules and go back into a period of nominations. Is there any debate against this motion? A reminder, this is debate against and this is debate for. Senator Walther.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I think this sets a bad precedent in that all of the candidates that have been nominated before us debated on this for a very long time. We talked a lot about it a lot with their colleagues, made these presentations, put a lot of thought and effort into it. I think it's a great disservice to someone to decide that they want to do it in the middle while we're.
I'm gonna have to pause you.
All right,
I'm
I was
sorry.
wrong, not to. My fault. That was my bad. Sorry, guys.
Well, drop the mic.
Okay, so apologies on that. So this motion is not debatable, so just forget everything you just heard. We'll now move into a period of voting. Please wait to be recognized. Have a point of information. Yes, President Banks.
Just to clarify, the person we are doing this for is actually the first person who did a presentation.
That's not a point of information. You're out of order. Please stay seated. Senator Moreno, you have a point of information. Okay, we will now move into a period of voting on this motion to suspend the rules and allow the period of nominations to be reopened. All those in favor?
Senator Benke, called it last time. I move to vote by.
Seeing multiple seconds? Okay, that's not debatable. And we vote on it? Okay, we have to stand. Okay. So all those in favor of deviating or suspending the rules to allow for nominations, please rise. If you would like to open the floor for nominations again for a student services chair, please rise.
We are voting to open.
Okay, please stay seated. Or please be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Please be seated. That fails. Okay, we will now go back into a period of presentation for student services chair. If you'd like to grab Senator Black. minutes, starting at Howdy.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Jeff Black. I'm here for y'all today. Next slide. So a little bit about me. I'm a senior petroleum engineering major from West Texas. I'm an on-campus senator, and this is actually my third session. Fun fact, I just started training again. So if you're ever bored and want to come bother me, so next slide, please. So to give you a little bit of background about what I have done in student services, last session I got to serve part of the session. I've sat on the transportation services and university advisory committee and privileged to sit on the university sessions. So I've had some really neat experiences in it in my role last session as a chair. First one, I met with a fellow senator. We met with a frustrated student who wrote an op-ed in that letter. Kind of detailed like conversation. I've worked with the Texas A&M Motorcycle Club and Transportation Services and motorcycle parking around campus. We actually got some really neat I recently worked with the director of Residence Life to make sure that West like the community center, y'all have been there, it's really awesome, but they now have meal plans. They don't really have that, so and so lastly, I really got good chances to meet really nice people and they want to work with us. So I set 4 goals for if I was to be like session. First, I would invite all of y'all to attend meetings that I attend. Or for y'all to write accurate legislation if y'all know what's going on. So I mean, directly. Increase transparency. I'd make sure if you can't go to a meeting, you want to know about the tiny meeting. I'd pass down minutes, make sure you have those covered. And then work with the different administrations to work on their methods of information communication because y'all know sometimes they're not accurate. I work with Chair Mandel on outreach and communication because y'all saw Football Thursday. There were some messages and complaints. So just making sure y'all bring feedback so we can pass on to them. So if there is another Thursday game, they can take care of it. And then lastly, I work with the VP of Student Services that they're sitting it well on the same page while and so I wanted to take a second, y'all finished all like no resume up there. I just wanted to reassure y'all that I'm an active this job. For the last 2 years, I've gotten to work with a bunch of different senators. I've learned how Senate works. I've been a member of IA, learned how to be a team player. I've worked with exec to get things done. As student services chair, I was able to construct relationships with administration members, and that helped me develop the ability to be able to advocate on behalf of students really well. I think that ability will help me greatly in this position to serve not just y'all, but our constituents. And I want to assure y'all that I'm ready to bring our voice to the table with administration, and that I am ready to be your next. Things like I yield my time.
We'll begin questions with Senator Moreno.
Moreno College of Engineering serves services, and if not, which year was it? And then also follow to that, what what made you now want to run to be here?
So I was actually, for those of y'all that know, students that personal conflict about that. And so now that I'm worked through all that, make sure worked through a couple times, so I can my life. I think my relationships with strong enough that I'll
Pro Tem Banks.
Pro Tem Banks, could you please describe the achievements of your committee when you were SN?
I think our biggest
achievement would have been the motorcycle parking. Getting to meet with the different members of that club, getting not only to talk to them about what they wanted to work on, then to reach out to transportation directors involved, and getting to actually see change. But you can see motorcycle parking in the back of Block 50. West Campus got a bunch of new spots, and getting to see that, hey, they actually did want to make this change.
Senator Maldonado.
Senator Maldonado on campus. Could you explain what you brought up? So y'all may have seen it on Facebook, like Odyssey or some outfit like that. She basically like wrote this roll-on letter, frustrated about like parking, busing, food, etc. So we just met with her. We explained a lot of this stuff because y'all know we hear a lot here, or the chairs hear stuff behind things. So we just explained everything to her, and whatever frustration was left that was covered or being worked on, we made sure we delegated to the right people.
Chair Walther.
Joel from Mayor's office. Can you extrapolate maybe more on how your experience in those advisory boards, not just kind of like that's kind of like where you can just get chair position if you're elected?
So both the dining, well, start with Transportation Services Advisory Committee is actually a mixture of students, faculty, and staff from around campus. They kind of do govern transportation a little bit, like they'll actually vote on stuff that transportation has. Basically get feedback from all these areas. So like before Thursday football, they came to us, asked questions on the bus routes and stuff. So from like from a student perspective, we give what we need, what we need best. Dining is more student oriented. They also come to us with ideas. They're like, oh, we're building the community center. What kind of food would you like? Oh, we're building this out here. The new Polo
2 minutes.
Garage, if y'all haven't heard of it, it's gonna have food in it. So they're like, what do y'all want to see? That advisory, like helping them move forward.
What you at the end? Senator Lopez. Senator Walther. Senator Carter.
Senator Carter on campus, so it's like what was your
I think first order of business would be making sure that where they all their policy, doing that from start kind of like this. I know I've worked in positions. I'm excited to work with them.
With 1 minute, Senator Thompson.
Senator Thompson, College of Liberal Arts. We hear a lot of people talk about how they want to increase lighting on West Campus. What do you think?
Making sure we talk to the right people.
I'm gonna pause you for a second.
I move that we extend, Chair Wilson, rules and regulations. I move that we extend question and answer by 3 minutes.
Seeing multiple seconds, all those in favor of extending the period of questioning and answer by 3 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes.
So back to your question.
Chair Rabioso.
Chair Rabioso, what plan do you have exactly for?
Straight up, I would say, first of all, meet with Kate. She's working on a committee. So once that gets into place, starts to kind of get them together. Just making sure there's a communication that we're talking to each other about, that we do, I guess, set some their goals of what we should.
Chair Walther.
Chair Walther, Ms. Thomas, kind of circling back. So what are you bringing from this committee? Bring to access? What ideas? What?
From transportation, I'd say just input. One thing that they're lacking is students complaining to each other about buses that they're lacking student input, so that's where bringing out our meetings in the Senate, talk to y'all outside, dining, same thing. I'm actually their #1 user for grants. Y'all didn't know that? And so I'll walk into meetings and they're like, yeah, y'all need to get our on their website. Send them they're like, I didn't like my food.
Cool. So if there's ever a problem, it's more just so we're all aware of the
Senator Hahara?
a goal that I like to share in student services. Sure that have to deal with so they're aware we have to all work together.
Are there any other questions for the presenter? Seeing none, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
So my character witness is a past senator.
All right, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So it is a pleasure to come back and speak to you guys on behalf of one of my closest friends, Jeff. So writing this speech was a little hard because there's no way to effectively put into words how great of a person that Jet is. I'm going to be a little cliche and say that when I think of Jet, I think of three different words: advocated, determined, and admirable. I had the pleasure of serving alongside Jet as a chair in the previous session. As many of you know, it was my first time being a senator and my first time being a chair. I was a little overwhelmed and really, really terrified. But then came Jet. Jet was the first person that came and sat over next to me and introduced himself. And from there on, Jet became one of my closest confidants in this. When I relied on him a lot, he taught me all about the ins and outs of Senate, how to work IA meetings, and was just there for me through everything. When things became hard in the last session, Jet was the person I turned to guide me through the complicated times. He was always the first one to lend a hand and the first one to speak up when necessary. Because he did that for me, I know he will do that for each and every one of you this upcoming session. Voting for Jet is like voting for a strong leader. He's someone who will start immediately, he's someone who knows how to be in this position, and he is someone who will go above and beyond for each one of us. There's no doubt in my mind that Jet is the best candidate for this position. He's experienced, he's dedicated, he's approachable, and those are the exact traits that every chair should possess. Whether you know Jet or not, you know he stops at nothing to be the best senator possible. I know as chair he will help you and he will lead you. He will never put you in a situation that he himself could not handle, and he will make sure you walk into a meeting with all the resources and tools that you need. Student Services is a committee with a large realm of reach and the potential to be one of the strongest committees in this room. We need someone in this position who is knowledgeable of its responsibilities and is committed to making a difference on this campus. And that, my friend, is Jeff Black. Thank you all.
10 minutes starting now. Yes, Senator Thompson?
Important information. I'm taking minutes. What was the last person?
Sorry, what?
I'm taking minutes. What was her name?
Character witness or the presenter?
Yeah, character witness.
Katina Economy.
I'll try.
I'll text you. That's a hard one.
All right, 10 minutes starting at Howdy.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
All right, so my name is Ashley. I know that many of you guys already know me, but for those of you who don't or are new, welcome to Senate. I'm really excited to meet all of you eventually. And so I'm going to begin by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm running for Student Services Chair, obviously. I'm a senior international studies major. I'm from Coppell, Texas. I'm studying French and politics and diplomacy, and I have minors in communication and psychology.
And now I'm pursuing a graduate certificate in advanced international affairs from the Bush School of Government and Public Service. Career-wise, I'd like to go into law and hopefully go into like international or human rights law. And in my free time, I like traveling and photography and music and kayaking and stuff. But yeah, so next slide, please. So before I get into this, so the reason I just wanted to kind of talk about the reason I decided to run for the position. So throughout the summer, I was talking to our former speaker, Jasmine, a lot, and I was telling her about ideas I had for bills and resolutions and stuff, which all included working with student services or even forming a subcommittee underneath. So whenever the spot became vacant, Jasmine suggested that I run, since all these ideas I had were already under student services. So the reason I say that is just to kind of explain, it's definitely something I already had ideas for, rather than like thinking up ideas that I wanted to be. But anyways, so let me talk about my involvement on campus for a couple years. I'm the director of symposia for the MSc Wiley Lecture Series. You guys heard y'all heard my spiel about that a minute ago. But yeah, we're the largest student-run lecture series. It's really great to host amazing speakers and bring world leaders to our campus. And I'm also a student worker for the Department of International Studies, and I run all the and in the past, I volunteered for with the Bronze Section. That was something I'm really passionate about. We did hospital accompaniments, court accompaniments, and hotline. It's definitely like emotionally taxing, but as you'll see later, it's something I'm really passionate about. I was a photographer for Aggieland Yearbook, and I used to take pictures in the field. That's one of them right there. And I was a part of an undergraduate research project about food insecurity. When I joined Senate, by the way, I filled the vacancy in Senate, and when I joined, I first started working on the Prosper Act resolutions with Archimedes. And we didn't get to present them due to time constraints with Barbara versus passing, but they will be presented in the next week. And now, as of last week, I'm running all of Senate's social media and stuff because I'm the director of marketing. And I helped write solutions for now. Before I move on, I just kind of want to make this clear, so I know it came up in other. So I'm not currently doing all of this. I'm sorry if that like makes the slide is confusing because I just I don't want to give the impression. Very very. So moving on, can you advance the slide for me? So moving on, I kind of wanted to outline my goals for student services. And to begin, I think this committee has potential to come up with really cool, very impactful, actionable, and innovative legislation. However, like I was kind of going through the drive and looking at last session's bills, and I don't really feel like that many were passed. Like many cool, innovative bills were passed or kickstarted cool initiatives. In fact, after looking through the drive, it seems like it only passed 2 big bills. I want to think of innovative ways to make campus life better and gain inspiration from experience. There's no point in talking about leading by example unless we're actually doing it. So I think I'm really bringing a fresh set of eyes to the whole. Also, so what I mean by better updates is if you go to like other SGA's websites, what you'll notice is they have an initiative, for example, West Campus Lighting, and it'll say below, it'll say talk to such and such administrator. This is the next meeting we're going to be bringing it up. This is the next time it can be expected to be completed by such and such year, such and such month. And I think that's really good because it's not enough to just make the bills. I think it also allows other people in this room and outside the room to hold us accountable. So I thought that was a good idea. Maybe that's more website stuff. And then lastly, I want to empower you guys to come up with your own ideas and like not shut you out of your own ideas. Like I know you're all passionate about various issues I may not know a lot about, like sustainability or first generation students. And I definitely want to hear them and that means taking your TSAT meeting or whatever. Next slide, please. Okay, so the program ideas I had. Also, I don't know if thanks is okay. So the sheet that you guys may or may not have gotten is just a statement of support from our former teacher, Duncan Wayne. And I don't hate trees, so I only printed 25 of them, so y'all can share with so let me first begin by saying I'm aware that one woman can't accomplish all this in 8 months, which is why we have committees. And I'm well aware that it takes time to meaningful things, but I think that I want to kickstart these things so after I leave, if we continue these. I just think that Texas A&M needs to be more than a leader. We need to be a leader in social change and progressive reform. So without further ado, these are some of the initiatives. So for starters, a menstrual hygiene availability pilot program. I don't see pads and tampons as a luxury or a commodity. I see them as a necessity, just like toilet paper. And if we can have, we can free condoms because we think it poses a significant public health risk. So I would hope you would think the same about menstrual health products. So I would like to set up a pilot program that provides free menstrual products within select high traffic bathrooms. And this has already been started at Texas State, UCLA, FSU, all NYC public buildings, including their universities. Emory, U of Wisconsin, U of Connecticut, Duke, Arizona, the list goes on. And I don't think students' participation in school should be feared by inflation. As a little known fact, we actually did provide menstrual products to in the past. And then the next one was I want to form a sexual assault subcommittee, but not just to have a subcommittee, for two main purposes. The first being a sexual assault survivor emergency fund, providing one-time emergency financial assistance to student survivors of sexual violence, relationship violence, and or stalking. These would be unexpected short-term emergency expenses, for example, immediate safety, health, or medical needs, or certain court filing fees like restraining orders. Also, little known fact, you can only access crime victims compensation if you are helping the police. And there could be numerous reasons that a woman would not. But I actually already reached out to multiple people in this room about this actually. I'm really interested in having that done because many other schools such as UCSB and UVA have already established these funds, but each school has a different way of oversight funding, which I'd love to. And then, of course, a sexual assault panel during Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I think that fits in very well with what SPC Sharp's vision is for
2 minutes.
County for Health and that kind of thing. And then, of course, I want to continue on current projects that are already in the works, like West Campus lighting, or what Senator Huchman is really working on, like gender neutral bathrooms. And that is. So I'd also like to say, can you go back to I'm so sorry. Okay. So also, I wanted to talk about food insecurity because there's no reason that a university of this size, there's no reason for this.
Not policy for the emotions. Please state your motion. You're out of order. I'm sorry. Please state your name and caucus. Seeing multiple seconds, all those in favor of extending the period of presentation by 3 minutes, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes.
Okay, so another one that I was looking at was food insecurity. So these are programs like Swipe Out Hunger and Share Meals. So the way Swipe Out Hunger works is in November and April, so the end of the semester, students are able to donate a certain amount of their unused meals. Because there are people who literally we're talking meals in the hundreds go to waste, and they don't roll over the next semester. So they can donate it to the 12 camp. And I think that's a really good idea, and a lot of schools have already done that. So I think that's a really good one. And also, I would like to make it clear that schools like UNC Charlotte and TSU, Texas State, they have chart wells, and they've already done Swipe Out. So I think that is something that we could at least try and pursue. All right. So I think another thing about student services that's really important is making this campus more welcoming. I had somebody tell me that they second guessed coming to this university because they saw that Senate almost we did pass a bill in the 65th session allowing people to cite a religious exemption if they did not want to pay $2 of their student fees to LGBT. He almost didn't go to this university because of that. So what? Okay, this is an institution. SGA is an institution. Institutional support matters, and it makes people it matters. So I think that's really important. I want to work on making this university more welcoming. To finish up, I'm well aware aware, I have not previously served in this role, and I have not already made those administrative relations. However, I've identified key administrators to each initiative, which I think you saw in the, yeah. And I've already tried to reach out to, I've already tried to reach out to people, but the only reason I haven't really reached out about these specific things is just that I think it would be more appropriate to discuss with whoever the new student services chair is, should it not be me. So that was the only reason I did that. And yeah, basically I'm just trying to communicate that I have a plan to hit the ground running. All right, so with that, this is the end of my presentation. I'm open to questions before I give the reins over to my trustee.
We will begin period of questioning with Pro Tem Banks.
For 10 Banks. So not only did you mention a lot of goals, but you also mentioned what you last year. So what methods, what leadership power are you going to, with your committee and with this set, get all these initiatives done?
Okay, so one idea was the subcommittee, because I think and not just subcommittee that's just formed, but formed with specific actionable goals. I think that would be a big one for the sexual assault portion of it. And I think that's one big one. And then kind of going into it with these ideas and already knowing who I want to contact from the beginning, and putting a point person for each initiative. I mean, that's what we do in Wiley. Like we assign like 4 speakers to each person. Hey, go contact these people every 48 hours. Like, so I would say that's my leadership style, and making myself replaceable. So when I leave, someone's able to come and take the reins. There's all transparency, and they know what's going on.
Senator Fisher.
Senator Fisher, College of Liberal Arts. So you mentioned some I've been involved with one thing. And you did specify that you're not currently all of them. So could you clarify for all of us things that you are currently doing?
So I am in 15 hours this semester. I'll be in 9 next semester, and I'm a director for Wiley. And
Senator Carter.
Senator Carter, option, so do you have any plans to implement health options? Sorry. Oh, do you have any plans to implement like health options?
oh, healthier. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's actually something I'd love to work with the exec cabinet on, because I know that when they were talking about how to health, that was one of the things. And I think that we need to definitely talk with Chartwell's about. And also like advertising as a PIA for physical activity for students. Very.
Senator Walther.
Senator Walter Mays caucus, food is something that's obviously important to everyone. Using those extra rights. But have you looked at maybe getting a little more forward meal start?
So I was talking to people about that, like Jasmine, and they were saying like it's really, this is not a new concept. It has been advocated for, and unfortunately, how is it? So that's why I was thinking about this other option. And so what I did was I looked for schools that are contracted with Chartwells and see what they did. So that it's not like I'm like, oh, Sodexo does this, but doesn't really matter. We don't have Sodexo. So no, that is something I thought about. I mean, it is something to bring up, but from what I've heard, it's not something that has been. And then I don't know if I touched on Share Meals. Share Meals is a program where
1 minute.
hungry Aggies can go and find
Motion.
someone who's
I'm
trying.
gonna pause you for a second.
Senator Barbary on campus. Motion to extend a period of question and answer by 3 minutes.
Seeing 1 second. All those in favor of extending the period of question by 3 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes.
Yeah, so basically Share Meals is where our hungry Aggies can find Aggies who are trying to use up their meal plans. Because you will find on the Texas A&M Free for Sale or the meme page, people will be like, oh, I have 50 extra meals for $5. Like, so that's a program.
Senator Moreno.
Senator Moreno, College of Engineering, sure if you touch base on your type of parking time. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So it turns out a lot of people get 50 week will basically be where, I mean, this would be something obviously, patient services, but, basically granting, because you just said apartment complexes, having an amnesty week where, you don't get a ticket during the week. Thank you for your question. I'm glad I got to explicate further on that.
Senator Vitaka?
Senator Vitaka, if you were to be elected chair, what would your expectation?
I think, like, for example, let's say, there's a deadline you're unable to meet. Transparency. I think transparency is really important for me. One, and two, like, bringing your own ideas to the table, I think is also really important for me. Because, to be honest, I'm only one person I have to talk about every day. So I would say, those two things.
Senator Hull?
Currently lacks behind on United States 4-year graduation. We have work with
Okay, so I think when you look at something like that, I mean, we're going into the social work part over here. You have to look at the systemic reasons something is happening. Are we not providing enough resources for first generation students? Are we, I mean, okay, I'm sorry, if you're hungry, you're probably like, how are you going to get through college if you're hungry, right? So are we dealing with food insecurity among college students? Are we dealing with mental health risks with college students? I think it's a bunch of things. Are we making sure that college is affordable for college students? So unfortunately, I don't think there's one answer to that. And of course, I said that I want to hear your ideas on working with first generation students or mental health. And mental health is also something I'm really passionate about. That's something me and Sarah Roberts really had in common. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I just feel like in this
1 minute.
exactly in this forum, it's really hard to communicate all the different reasons why I think, or all the different ways we can increase our graduation rates, but I just can't do it in this context. I would love to talk about that though.
Senator Barbary?
withdrawn.
Are there any other questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you. I'd like to introduce the character witness. Would you like to introduce him?
All right, so this is my character witness, Senator Adil Pintar. He's a College of Engineering senator, so I'll let him take it away.
5 minutes, starting now.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So my name is Alec Pintar. I'm one of the engineering senators here. I'm here to tell you why I think, or rather why I know, that Ashley Shimada is the most suitable candidate for this position. So I met Ashley back when we did MEL together, so Model Arab Week. And since I'm a French minor as well, I have a lot of classes with her too. Let me start by saying that Ashley is a very dedicated person. And when she's passionate about something, she puts her all into it. Senate is one of the things that she's really passionate about. Ashley filled a vacancy in the last session, and that very short time that she has been here, she really hit the ground and made her voice heard every single meeting. She debated extensively the very first day that we were here. And then after that, she also worked very hard on the Prosper Act resolutions. And when we did not get the chance to hear some of those resolutions, she started reaching out to, I'm sorry, I didn't read off of this, I apologize. So she worked very hard on the Prosper Act resolutions for the Legislative Affairs Committee, which we did not get to hear a chance, to hear due to time constraints. And she also tried resolutions for Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Arab Heritage Month. She also reached out to people about bills and initiatives she was really interested in starting in the new year, such as the Sexual Assault Survivor Emergency Fund and a Feminine Hygiene Pilot Program. She's constantly telling me about new ideas she has, and it's also important to note that most of these ideas lie under the umbrella of student services. Overall, Ashley has shown enthusiasm, initiative, and excitement in brainstorming innovative ideas for this campus and sponsoring many more in this upcoming year. From sexual assault to minority inclusion, Ashley cares about all students at A&M and wants to serve everybody to the best of her ability. She wants to make sure that everybody on this campus is heard. Ashley's dedication to service goes well beyond the bounds of this room. She's open-minded, approachable, empathetic, and genuinely listens and cares when something's bothering someone. She really cares about what people go through, and even when people disagree with her, she always respects the person she's talking to. And outside of this election or any context, I would highly recommend getting to know Ashley. She's really fun to be around. She's very loyal, and she's really a hilarious person. If you guys ever go to the thing that we have after meetings, we go to see Chicken. She's there most times, and she's a really chill person to hang out with. So I have no doubts in mind that she'll be able to serve really well in this position, and she'll be able to give her 110% and be able to serve every single student on this campus and make sure that everybody's voice is heard. Finally, voting for her today will ensure that the Senate has diverse leadership, a productive semester, and will allow our university to better serve our growing student body and all of our students. And with that, I yield my time to the floor.
Thank you, Senator. Okay, so we will now be moving into a period of debate. A reminder for debate for elections, we will only be speaking for candidates. We'll be going through candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3, back to the start for a period of 15 minutes, which can be extended. And you are not allowed to say their names. You have to say candidate 1, 2, or 3. If you say their name, you'll be called out of order and you have to sit down. So, we will now open the period of debate. If you would like to speak for candidate 1, please. Senator Lopez. Next to the floor. You have 2.5 minutes starting at howdy.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So Senator Lopez, College of Liberal Arts. The reason I want to advocate for candidate 1 is because even throughout the summer and even like before the session began, he was like super excited to start a bunch of legislation that I hadn't even started to think about. And so that excitement and that motivation is something that I think is necessary in order to be in a leadership position. So he is constant, messaging and constant like updating. And so I think that is something that is really respectable. And with that, I yield my time to Senator Salazar.
Howdy. I wanted to talk about something. This is my second term here, and one day I got a notification from candidate 1, and I truly noticed that he was very passionate about what he does. So passionate, in fact, that it made me think that I should push a little harder and maybe introduce a few more things. And I have not seen that level of commitment before for many senators. And truly, I am amazed by his character and, again, his commitment.
1 minute.
I yield the floor to Senator Campbell.
You have 1 minute starting at howdy.
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 Senator Nambila off campus. The name of the position is student service. What most candidates forgot is this position is for you to serve. And candidate 1 is the only one I believe is the most. I met candidate 1 freshman year, we're in the same floor. This person is dedicated, reliable, and honest. He was always the one trying to bring people on the same table. He's the one trying to make sure everybody get along and we can find a solution together. He always trying to include everyone. And I believe that's the reason why he's the person that I yield to
15 seconds.
Senator
15 seconds.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I personally don't know any of the candidates personally, but candidate one, they all have great missions and goals, but candidate one really incorporated like healthy food. As an athlete or someone who's very proactive, that's something that's really passionate to me and really helped and benefit a lot of people.
Time has expired. We'll now begin the period of debate. Period of debate for candidate 2. If you would like to debate for candidate 2, please raise your hand like this if you'd like to debate. Senator Walton.
I've known candidate two for a short while. He's demonstrated two things to me that I think are very important in this position. One, experience. Two, compassion. In this role as student services chair, these two things are how he's going to best serve the students. Candidate two combines experience. He's previously served in this position. He knows what it takes. He knows the relationships that are needed to be in this position. I think he'll do a great job. I think he had the foresight to step down previously because he knew what it took and he knew he just couldn't do it that semester due to some family issues. But I think he knows what it takes. He knows he's got the time to do it. And I think if we give him the reins, we'll be very productive. And I yield my time to Chair Walter.
You have 2 minutes.
Hi.
Please state your name and caucus.
Matthew Walter, or Senator Walter, Mace Caucus. Unlike some members of my family, I like to keep things brief. Just experience is always the number one thing of looking at this sort of things, looking at qualifications. The fact that he's done this position, done it well for a decent chunk of last session. I yield my time to Senator Mendel. Chair Mendel.
Chair Mandel, CA. I've known candidate two for a while now. He's actually one of the first people I met in it, and he helped me and Chair Mendoza write our first piece of legislation. He introduced us to the right people within the administration. He has really well connections with them, and something about his character is he's really meticulous. He'll like go through the code whenever it's like on his free time for some reason, and he'll like find things in there that we could be doing better or ways that we can change it or certain things that we have to utilize to the best of their ability. And he's come to me plenty of times with new ways to my committee or other people's committees, and he's talked to them about that. And I think candidate two is a great candidate for this position as well as the other candidates. I think all of them are great, but I happen to know candidate two is he's served in the position in the past and he's done a great job. Yield my time to Chair Powell.
You have 50 seconds starting at howdy.
Chair Powell, Academic Affairs. Howdy.
Howdy.
Candidate two, one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet is he lives on campus and has lived on campus for the entire time as a student, and he is very in tune with a lot of student services here, including transportation, dining, all that. Also, another positive of him being on campus is he's very easy to meet with as a senator or as a faculty member. That's something that I think is an underrated part of being a leader in the Senate is being available for everyone. And I think all the candidates are awesome, but candidate two is the most qualified and most successful. So with that, I yield my
10 seconds. Floor has been yielded to. We will now move into a period of debate for candidate 3. If you'd like to debate for candidate 3, Senator Barbary.
Senator Barbary on campus. Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
As candidate 3 might have said in her presentation, she might not have the experience right now, but she did show drive. She already researched the people she needs to talk to. She wants this, that's all you know. I give my time to Senator Moreno.
Senator Moreno, College of Engineering.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I'll first start by saying I'm a bit torn because I think all candidates are great. Hard to just come up here and vote for one. But I think the distinguishing factor for me is that candidate 3 definitely has just that enthusiasm. To me, just came across as like very excited for the opportunity to serve our students. And I think the idea is are great, but the number one idea that I think definitely resonated with me, although it's kind of interesting, is definitely sexual assault. I'm a male, right? I mean, usually males aren't usually the victims of sexual assault, although that is the case still with some males on campus. But that is a big topic around students nowadays, especially what happened throughout the summer. She's someone that I think can be a great advocate for this issue. And I think although she only has a year or less, I think this issue needs a lot of attention, especially this coming term. And I think she's a great person to lead that, whether that be in a chair position or as a senator. I think she'll probably do great either way. But I think her leading this effort could probably be a great resource and asset for all of us. I mean, I know several people that have been sexual assault victims, and
1 minute.
it's definitely tragic to hear stories like that, especially at a campus where one of our core values is respect. I don't think that should exist whatsoever, and I think we all agree that that's one thing that we should all in mind, especially nowadays, that we should treat each other more with respect, given that we're 68,000 students on this campus. So I think this is a pressing issue, and I think she's very much qualified. Although she doesn't have experience, I think she is capable of performing the job. I feel my time.
25 seconds.
Howdy, Senator Thompson, College of Liberal Arts. I want to make this quick because I have to. I was actually in the hospital over the summer. It's actually the reason that I'm not running for chair today. And the person that had the most clear, actionable goals was candidate 3 in my mind. Their what they wanted to get accomplished was way more than any of the other options. So I would have to say
5
that
seconds.
this candidate is the most qualified for this position.
We will now move back into period of debate for candidate 1. We are at 7 minutes and 20 seconds of our 15-minute. So is there any debate for candidate 1, Senator Salazar?
If there is one thing that we should keep in mind is that experience and qualifications are not interchangeable words. We all came into this body without experience. None of us were just sworn into the Senate as soon as we came in as freshmen. We had to fight to get here. And honestly, we're all going to grow together and we're all going to get to the positions we want. But we should have a candidate that will provide a new perspective and a fresh perspective. And I truly believe that candidate number 1 has those qualities. I yield my time. Senator Powell.
First time. 2 minutes or 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Chair Powell, Academic Affairs, howdy.
Howdy.
I believe candidate 1 and I'll speak about other candidates as well have a really large amount of time to spend at this position. And I think that is a really important factor you should consider in your voting. It's really great to be passionate and be qualified, which all these candidates are. But you also have to consider how much time they can put in. Because the more time that a candidate can put into this, the better that candidate. I yield my time to
College of Liberal Arts.
Howdy.
Howdy.
With a short left, I think something that Chair Powell mentioned that is really important is time commitment, and he has chosen to not join anything else in order to commit his full time to student services, and so I think that is something really wow that he's doing, and that's commitment, and that's why I for him. My time to.
Floor has been yielded to. We will now move into a period of debate for candidate 2. Is there any debate for candidate 2? Senator Maldonado.
Senator Maldonado, campus. Howdy.
Howdy.
So we've all talked about candidate two's experience in this role, but we haven't talked about how passionate. Candidate two is somebody I met 2 years ago. We were both working on campus, and it was him telling me about all the good stuff we've done here. That really drove me to want to be a part of this because I know that he's some good stuff. I know that this is really the best way to go about doing great stuff right here on campus. Candidate two has also lived on campus all his 4 years. He's worked as an RA and he's worked for transportation services, so he knows what it's like with students. He knows the issues that students faces, and I know that candidate two will do a lot to make student services good for me. That will do a lot for that. I yield my time to Senator Thompson.
1 minute and 40 seconds.
Senator Thompson, College of Liberal Arts. Howdy again. I wanted to come up here and say that in the last week I had the pleasure of reaching out to several of you running for this specific position. But when I reached out to candidates, they were absolutely helpful in every way, and I can see that that is definitely how they're going to treat this position. When asked how to run for a position that they were also running for, they were helpful in pointing me to the right resources and everything that I needed to continue on my way. And I think that that's something that we all need in a leader, somebody that is there to support you even when it doesn't support themselves. And I think that candidate two absolutely embodies that. Thank you. I yield my time to twice.
The floor has been yielded to. We will now move into a period of debate for candidate 3, starting with Senator Lopez.
Howdy again. So I think candidate 3 was super excited, and she brought in so many different ideas and diverse plans that she wants to implement, and she came with like a strict plan, well not strict, but she came with a plan that she had already thought of, and she came in with several ideas for bills that she put up in the air since even like last semester, and I think that's something that's really necessary. So yeah, I yield my time to Senator.
Senator, College of Engineering. Howdy.
Howdy.
I'm going to go on the record as endorsing number 3 for. So I am the president of the Air Club, and one of the signature events that we have is we have a debate that we participate in Houston, and we have about 2 months of research and prep work. So that's how I got to know candidate 3. And in every single meeting that we have for those debates, she always came prepared, and she offered a lot of good advice. So to me, the student service chair is a liaison between the Aggie community and student senate. In my opinion, candidate 3 understands the importance of open communication and dealing with and getting feedback from the student body. She's honest, reliable, willing to put in the hard work. And at the end of the day, I think that she is the right person for the job. So with that, I yield my time to Senator Thompson.
A little less than a minute.
Senator Thompson, College of Liberal Arts. Howdy, Senator. Last one up here, I swear. Specifically, I had 25 seconds. I wanted to talk about how I was most impressed with this senator's lack of shying away from the tough issues, because there was definitely some things that I disagreed with in her presentation. There were several things that you probably disagreed with in her presentation as well. But here's the thing, is that she stood up for those ideals. She had several ideas that she knew wouldn't be popular here in this room. She came up here and presented them nonetheless because she knew that that's what she had to say. Now, I think that that's something you want to see in a leader always. I think a leader needs to come come up and say things that needs to be said, whether or not they're going to be popular. And with that, I yield.
6 seconds.
Oh my God.
Leonard Moreno, College of Engineering. Howdy, Senate.
Hey,
I just want to say, I would love to see a woman up there with all the different. I yield my time.
Last time I checked.
Okay, the time has expired for debate. We are at 13 minutes and 20 seconds. So the code says there are 3 rounds of debate, 4. So we haven't used all our 15 minutes, so we can go back into debate 4. Senator Walter, is that a motion?
Senator Walter, base caucus.
Seeing multiple seconds. All those in favor of moving to previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Okay, we will now move into a period of voting. Chairman Dell.
Mayor Manzel, CA, I move that we go by.
Done. We move by ballot.
All right.
Point of information, Chair Powell.
Chair Powell, academic affairs. Can you explain how the winner, how many votes need to win?
Right.
Majority or just
Yes.
the most?
Yes, so the person who wins chair will need a majority. So if this candidate does not reach majority in the first vote, we will have to do a second vote for just the top 2. Chair Powell.
And what's majority?
We'll have to count.
Hold on. Get back to you. I'm gonna go
50%.
check the ballot. Does everyone have ballots?
Are you on that?
I was like,
Sorry.
Yeah. I voted. Watch it, surprise. Matthew Walters, go right in. That's so.
Yeah.
Votes up here. Table.
Mitch, you count? No, no, them.
So Marissa, there was my motion for the person who's going to nominate her was the question. Yeah. So there's that. Janet's apparently. And then there were 5. I mean, I'm sure there were. This is the SSVP.
Did somebody write? No. It doesn't matter.
It's almost work. I've almost got it fully working. Good. It is.
Hold on, just wait. Please come back to order briefly. A majority was not reached, so we will be doing a runoff vote between candidate 2 and candidate 3. So please, we will pass out more ballots, recast your votes, and make sure you fill out the entire sheet with your name and caucus, or your vote will not count. Senator Moreno. Yes. Right, yeah, it's just vote again, yes.
Also, please fill out the entire ballot with your name and caucus as well as the candidate's name. If you don't fill out everything, we will just throw out the vote. All three votes need to be filled. Does anyone else need ballots?
I got outside votes.
I mean, there's. Oh, well, yeah.
Everybody's voted. That's why they're gonna run.
Anyone not vote?
You'll end up like that way. No, I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't say so.
Okay, everyone, please take your seat, and please stay seated. We had 53 votes the first vote and 50 votes the second vote. We are going to count everyone to see who didn't vote because it's a very, very tight vote, and I just want to make sure we have the right representation. So please stay seated while we count. You can talk, but please stay in your chair. No.
Oh, yeah, the person's coming back in right now, but there's six voting options. And then he just came back.
Yeah, so Andrew.
Last time. You can't vote unless there's a tie.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I gave him the.
Okay, we're back up to 53 in the room, so please vote again, and please make sure your vote gets turned in. Yes. Yes. The gap is 2 votes. So with the 3 votes that we're missing, it could change the election. It's so one candidate could gain the majority if 3 that didn't vote voted for that candidate. Yes. People left to get food. Yes, Senator Crowe. Please come back to order, please. Please. What does the code say about revote? We're gonna, okay, please cast your votes, but we're going to make sure that this is within the code. So we'll get back to you on whether this is allowed, but please cast your vote anyway so that we have them. Yes. Well, we're just gonna save time by voting, and if it's not in the code, then we'll just throw out the votes and go with the first vote. We're just gonna see what's in the code. We won't even count them.
Nothing. Literally nothing.
Okay, so I have not voted. So there's 6 people in the room, 5 of them voted, and then we have. So
I don't know.
I know. I'm not
Trying
I
to
know.
sway the vote.
No, I understand. I don't think.
Okay, so
Yes. Voting.
What? Hold on, excuse me. So after speaking with our advisor, you basically, after speaking with our advisor, she thinks it's a good idea that since we're still in the same election that the entire, for the first part of the election as well as the.
it's not.
And there's no revoting in the vote. So it's, at this point, it's up to interpretation. Not on me.
So if we had a motion to, there would be a debate.
No.
That would just be everyone. Because it's really, I don't want to have this.
Yeah, I know. Look at the, okay, either way, this third vote, either this third vote is gonna be good, or we're gonna throw it out. So if, right, we throw it out anyway and go with the results of the first one, right? I know. So if this third vote agrees with the second vote, let's just go ahead and go with the second.
But if it doesn't agree, I don't want to read the votes.
Yeah.
Until we know what to do. Because that's a conflict.
It's gonna look shady. It's gonna look really shady. Yeah. Especially if it changes. So according to the code, you just have to go. I don't know.
There's nothing about rebooting.
So it's gonna be. I mean, it isn't fair. We're just gonna call them a vote.
I know, that's what, but that's what we're trying to do. If there's a motion to,
Yes, there is. Because we can't vote to revote after the revote's already. You would have to
reconsider the vote.
that is legitimate. Yes. But the results of the vote have to be announced. And, okay, so I think reconsider the vote. Here's gonna be the rule. Reconsider the vote. You have to get someone from the opposite, from the losing side. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. That's so I have to. Somebody consider the motion, they would have to come inside and say that they want to.
Got this one and I got another one. This is like. I like it too. Like seriously, so that's why we have these.
Is a valid election. Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Does that make sense to you? And it's like very, it's not. Yeah. I mean, we did the 26.
Actually, so I'm just saying, in the code, it says that who are in the room are still technically allowed to vote. Mailers who are in the room right now don't. That is in Robert's rules.
I mean, you haven't announced the vote yet, so that's still. The second, the runoff vote is still open.
So it asks you to say that
Not voted.
here, get the ballot. One at a time.
Until you announce that is a vote.
That should still. So you can say, you have not voted. Yes.
You got, I mean, 50 is a valid election. I think it's, you have to have the same. Are we good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
please come to order. Please take your seats. Okay, so this is what we have come up with. The vote for the runoff vote is still open until it's announced. So if you are one of the 3 people who did not vote in the runoff vote, please come forward and vote if you would like to vote. So if you did not vote in the runoff and you would like to vote, please raise your hand and get a ballot.
Point of information? Yes. President Banks, the runoff vote is the second vote, not the first.
Correct. The third vote is still non-existent in the chair's eyes. Is there any other senators who did not vote?
Wait, was the winner already just like announced?
No.
No one will know. No one knows.
Is there any other senators that did not vote in the runoff between candidate 2 and candidate 3 that would like to place a vote? Yes.
Is there any way to have like our roster votes that have already been cast, our roster and see who did
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yes, but then that was
Yeah.
We're just gonna leave, you're all out of order. We're just gonna leave it up to the senators who did not vote to see if they want to vote. If you don't want to vote, you don't have to. Senator Walther.
Senator Walter makes caucus on this.
Let's just not do that motion and move forward to the meeting. Okay, let me explain my thought process. Okay. So, this one vote is not going to sway the winner of this election. So we will just announce the winner of the election. At that time, if you would like to reconsider the vote, someone from the winning side can motion to reconsider the vote, and we can revote, in which the third vote that we did that has not been touched yet will be counted. That's the second vote. So, if the winning side would like to revote, we can still revote, which is the third pile that hasn't been touched. Otherwise, the winner of the second vote will be the Student Services Chair. So would you like to withdraw your motion, Senator Walther? Yes, Chair Powell.
Did we know if all 50 people voted for the third vote?
The third vote doesn't exist.
Commissioner Paul,
Yes.
if the third vote existed, would everyone?
The third vote has not been touched for a good reason, because we would like to not influence the second vote. No. Yes, Senator Crowe. We can count if you would like. The names of the votes of the second vote. We can go through and make sure there's no duplicates.
Hey, Tate, give me the roster. Please.
Sonica.
Let's say that they're afraid, but they have a lot of real estate assets. Basically, they're like, so you do this. You get that all the Oh, no, right, no, right, no. It's all like really nice. But listen, you'll say that this house.
Hey, I'm announcing everybody. Go right up there. It's my job to announce you.
I need it, man. I need it. It's an amazing place. It's an amazing place.
Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Okay, the results from the second runoff elections have been certified. Make sure there are no revotes. Everyone got a chance to vote. The winner of the election by a vote of 27 to 25 is candidate 3. Please rise.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ashley Kamada,
Do solemnly swear faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of, state your office,
the duties of the office of Student Service Chair,
the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
the Texas A&M Student,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor
at all times, to protect the welfare of the student body,
at all times to protect
and to promote good relations between the students
and to promote good relations
and those concerned with the university.
with those concerned.
Please be seated. Okay. Wow. Losing it. We'll now move forward with our agenda. Another thing that I noticed just now, I apologize. In the previous sessions that I've served in, anyway, resolutions have always been placed under consent agenda. I apologize for making the mistake. I just copy and pasted an agenda from a previous session and filled it in. So, just so everyone knows, consent agenda, those pieces of legislation cannot be presented or debated. They're just voted on, yes or no. So the chair would like to entertain a motion to deviate from the agenda and move SR 70-01 and SR 70-02, new business. 71, sorry. Chair Wilson.
Chair Wilson, Rules and Regulations, I move that we deviate from the agenda, move SR 71-01, 71-02 to new business, and strike out consent agenda.
Seeing multiple seconds. All those in favor of deviating from the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Okay, so now we'll move into a period of new business, starting with SR 71-01, the honoring William Montgomery Monty Gano resolution. Will the bill authors and presenters please come forward? Minutes.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Beautifully back in here. I know y'all had a really long time. It's been, I guess, like 2.5 hours on a single election. Some of y'all want to get out of here. Y'all have a few more resolutions and bills to get through. So I'm here for a reason no one wants to be. Plus, they're in the 69 to 70 session, and then my roommate really wanted to get involved with Senate after that. He told me how cool it sounded. I said, actually, you really have no clue what you need. Probably should stay away. It's not that fun, but he called me stupid like he usually does and said, I'm going to do it. So he ran. And he got elected, 71st session. He got to be in here. I heard he was a, how would you put it? Tenacious? I would really like to put that in a different way, but he would love to come in here and cause the same kind of trouble I would cause during my time in the room. So, put that out there. But sadly, Monty got his diagnosis with cancer back in June, July timeframe. About a month later, gets come to adrenal and liver cancer. It's one of the saddest things. I mean, we were lucky enough to go through last night. And honoring the silver caps won't be here to say here for him. Plus, we tried to do a lot for his mother over the past couple months or past month to really help her with it. But this is a resolution just to honor William Montgomery Gano. I think it's the first time that I've seen a senator die in my time at A&M. I don't know anybody else, but I would hope that y'all go through, y'all read it. William Montgomery Gano passed away on August 1st, 2018 after a short but valiant battle against adrenal cancer. And whereas William Montgomery was a member of the 71st session of the Texas A&M Student Senate, who showed a particular passion for the Student Senate during his short time in office, whereas Montgomery truly lived the Aggie spirit during his short time at Texas A&M and served as Student Senator and tried to live by our core values of respect, excellence, loyalty, leadership, integrity, and selfless service. And therefore, let it be resolved that the Texas A&M Student Senate reflect upon and honor the life of the fallen student senator, and let it be resolved at the top of this resolution. Be signed by all members present and sent to Mrs. Gano and the Gano family. I yield my time to the floor and just ask that y'all pass this with no issue.
Are there any questions for the presenters? We'll now move into a period of debate for the resolution, starting with debate against. Is there any debate against? Seeing none, the period of debate is one-sided. We'll now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing SR 71-01, the honoring William Montgomery Gano resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes unanimously. We'll now move on to SR 71-02, welcoming the class of 2022 resolution. Will the bill presenters please come to the floor?
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy. And so I compiled a little group of past freshmen. Because we wanted to come up here and of course welcome all students back to campus for the fall semester. Whether you're a transfer student, whether it's your first or last semester on campus, especially the new class of 2022. Yeah, elections are coming up, so you know, I want to encourage them to come through and Senate. We'll plug for that. But Colton's gonna read it verbatim.
All right. As of August 27, 2018, first day of classes for the fall 2018 semester, thousands of Aggies have traveled to College Station, and the freshman class 2022 begin their college careers and the first taste of adulthood here at Texas A&M University. And whereas the class of 2022 and new transfer students have officially joined the Aggie family and thus deserve a warm welcome from the group that represents their student voice and opinion. Whether it is your first or last semester, we as the student senate hope you beat the hell out of fall 2018 semester. And therefore, let be resolved that the 71st session of the Texas A&M University students officially welcomes the class of 2022 to the campus. And the 71st session of Texas A&M University Student Senate welcomes back all returning and transfer students in Aftermath. Copy of this be sent to the county.
We yield our time for questions. Are there any questions for the presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. We'll now move into a period of debate. Is there any debate against the resolution? Seeing none, the debate is one-sided. We'll now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing SR 71-02, welcoming the class of 2022 resolution, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes unanimously. We will now move into SB 71-01, the Diversity and Inclusion Representation Bill.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So at the very beginning of this session, when both myself and Mitch were running for our current positions, we talked about our desire to create a diversity and inclusion committee within. Diversity and inclusion is a topic that gets a remarkable amount of legislation dedicated to it every session, more than a lot of committees get, but remarkably, it does not have its own committee. So not only to help facilitate that, but to reflect the very important need for the discussion and facilitation of issues on campus, we have decided to push for the creation of this committee. Both myself and Mitch just 2 days ago met with the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion at level, and Mitch is going to talk about that conversation.
Right, so the bill itself is just changing the code to allow for the position of IA. The bill itself doesn't have any substance to it as far as, it has a little bit of a vision, but it doesn't have like what we would call like actions for the role. So we met with Dr. Coleman, the Provost and Vice President for Diversity. She gave us some really good ideas for what this committee could start with, like right off the bat. So I'm going to go through 4 actions that she gave us that I think this could hit the ground running with, just so you guys have an understanding of how this could serve our body. So the first one is to translate the Vision 2022 plan into action plans. So I realize that it's coming up on 2019, so this plan's coming in. But where this might be helpful is they could go through the 2020 plan, find things that we weren't able to get to, actionable items that we can work on to benchmark what we hit, what we haven't hit, and move forward. Also, the Vision 2030 plan is currently being drafted, and Dr. Coleman said that she would be more than happy to get the new members of this committee to work on how they can work on implementing the 2030 plan very early before it's even presented publicly. So the next one is recruitment. So Texas A&M is a premier university, but we struggle with recruiting members who are actually going in the wrong direction in some, and losing them to universities that I would consider not as great as Texas A&M. So she challenged us with focusing how we as a Senate can make this climate more that is more appealing to recruit more Aggies here from all over. We're losing students from Texas to out-of-state schools, and that's just quite frankly unacceptable, I think, from our university. The next one is to publicize the things that we do right. So Dr. Coleman came from the University of Michigan. She actually started in April. So she mentioned that one of the things she noticed about Texas A&M is that we get some harsh news put out about us when it comes, especially to race. And so she said that one of the things that we should do is work backwards and start by honoring and awarding and recognizing right. So publicize things that we are happy about and things that we want people around the nation to know about Texas A&M. And the final thing is don't lose track of the ICD credits, so the International Cultural Diversity credits. I know these have been a hot topic lately for academic affairs, and she stressed that this is a really good way for us Aggies to get more exposed to different things. So those are 4 things that I think this committee can hit the ground running with. On top of other things, I think I counted and there were 7 bills and resolutions from last session that were passed that, in my opinion, would have gone through this committee. So I think that there's a great foundation and great basis for this committee, and I think we've laid out a way that it could work into our operations.
Talking about the bill itself, it's really just necessary code modifications for the committee to, not much of actual substance there beyond the actual.
So with that, we can do the question.
Are there any questions for the presenters? Senator Thompson.
Senator Thompson, College of Liberal Arts. My question is, when will we hold elections?
All right. So this is a bill, so we will not be voting on it tonight. It will be going up. It will be sent to a committee, and it will be going up for a second reading next. If it were to pass, the election would be the following meeting. So I think that's October. October 1st, October.
Chair Walther.
Chair Walter, Mace Caucus, maybe a little bit of clarification. This is more like a fair bonus, getting it out there that we'll flesh out the details a little more.
Well, so the bill itself is allowing for this to be a thing in the code. But as I mentioned, we are putting together kind of a transition document from a chair that hasn't existed. So we're working to make sure that this committee can thrive and grow to where it's not just a person with a title, where it's actually something that can be worked on. As well as there's people in administration that want to see this happen and want to work with them, as well as the executive. So there's going to be ways for them to succeed. This is just making sure that it can be a thing.
From the point of view of the language, what is represented here in regard to the changes, the Diversity and Inclusion Committee would have exactly the same amount of language.
Senator Walther.
Chair Walter, Mace Caucus, personally, that's got me treating them very actionable year.
Yeah, I think I laid out 4 really good actionable items. I can go through them again if you guys like to do that.
Okay. And then the second part of that question is, how would this committee and how would this chair act with the executive?
Well, yeah, we currently have a counterpart, many chairs have a counterpart relationship, such as, legislative affairs and legislative relations. There's a VP of academic affairs to correspond to our academic chair, there's a VP of services correspond to services chair. It would be essentially the same relationship that already exists with the diversity chair. Once there is a diversity commissioner, which there will be.
Are there any other questions for the presenters? If there are none, we will send the bill back to the Rules and Regulations Committee.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So for those of you who don't know, the reapportionment of caucuses is the Speaker and Pro Tem's job to do at the end of the session. Unfortunately, at the end of last session, they were passed wrong. There was 81 senators when we went through and counted again. So this is just making sure we have 80 senators. So there was 2 new health science senators, and then also sorry. Engineering lost their seats. Back on So, two colleges lost a seat to open up the health science. Engineering gained, but then lost one in this bill. That's what this is. So we're back down to 80, and the reason that we're presenting it now is so that we fully enacted for the election commission ready for the election. And the fall elections for our vacancies, we just want to make sure it's all right before we go to the election. So are there any questions?
Seeing that there are none, this bill will also go back to the Rules and Regulations Committee.
We'll now move into a presentation of SB 71-03, the Operations Committee Rehaul Bill.
All right, Kareem's gonna have a busy week. So the Operations Committee is the group of people who make sure Senator works behind the scenes. We already have two members of the Operations Committee, Senator Hawkins, our Director of Archives, and Senator Gupta has decided to be our Director of Information. Actually lost another member of our Operations Committee tonight when Senator Shimada became chair. So, as she mentioned, she was going to be Director of Marketing. So in the code, there are actually two conflicting versions of the Operations Committee. One of them specifies 5 positions that must be filled. One of them specifies 4 different positions. So this is just going through, cleaning up that, and making sure it's consistent. Questions?
Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you very much. This bill will go to Rules and Regulations. Okay, that concludes the period of new business. We will now move into a period of open session. Is there any legislation for open session? Seeing none, we'll now move into a period of committee reports, starting with Pro Temp Banks.
Howdy, y'all. So like I just explained, I'm still getting people together for the Operations Committee. That should be my next meeting. Yeah, beyond that, good meeting tonight. Great meeting next week. We'll go on the bills. Make sure to go to your committee meetings. That's an important part of the process. Thanks, Stephen. Good night. Go to the chicken afterwards. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Pro Temp Banks? Seeing none, Chair Wilson.
Chair Wilson, Rules and Regulations. Welcome back, y'all. Thank you for a great first Senate meeting. I don't know if y'all saw, we're bringing back Spirit Day, so wear maroon on Fridays. We're going to Subco after. I'm gonna go have some French fries, maybe a beverage, and then go home, go to sleep. So thank y'all for coming out here, being prepared, engaged, and you all look so nice. I'm very grateful that no one's called out of order for dress code. Please keep that up. I really appreciate the energy in the room and set a precedent for the rest of the semester. And I can't wait to see what we accomplish. Please don't forget, 3 bills just got sent to the Rules and Regulations Committee. Shout out to all my Rules and Regs people. If you have an issue or if you want to talk about it, we're not going to have the same thing that went down last session with election regulation. We're not going to do that. So please, 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 if you want to come talk about a bill, edit a bill, Tate's already reached out. He's going to be there. Please ask me when my committee meeting is. It'll probably be next Thursday at 7 p.m. Ballpark time. So please be there if you have any issues or want to edit the bills. So, and I yield to questions.
Are there any questions for Chair Wilson? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Walther.
Hey guys, so the way my committee works is literally all of our work is in the month of September, so we'll be having our allocation hearings next week, and then we'll be reading our bill the week after. Hopefully it'll be really quiet. Won't have a lot of shouting and whatnot that happened last session a little bit. So yeah,
Are there any questions for Chair Walther? Seeing none, Chair Mandel.
Howdy, y'all. So CA, we're gonna have a meeting next Wednesday at 8 o'clock at the kitchen. And I said it at that place so that we can have more social setting and then also invite student leaders from other organizations. It's basically like a subcode, but then open it up to everybody else. That way we can get fun for us to do, how we can help them out. So anybody who knows student organization leaders on campus, if you'd like to come out, invite them. It'll be Wednesday, 8 o'clock, chicken. And we're currently putting together a team of
Non-voting delegates who are liaisons, who will have to have confirmed TPCA committee from, right now we have a representative from the IFC, panel HBC, NCAA, LIL, and NBL leaders. But we still need some others. So if anybody has anyone else who they have in mind, send me an email for their organization's president, and I can send an email. Are there any questions for Chair Mandel? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Mendoza?
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Chair Mendoza, Legislative Affairs. So now that I have my committee's zero polls, minus one, I'm going to send out our close time for our committee meetings. We will be having a meeting next week based on the timing for the next week. I meet with Greg from LR, and then we'll go from there. And then on a different note, obviously the Clemson game is Saturday. But last time they were here, I forget who it was.
Tennessee.
One of the announcers mentioned that we have the best personnel and
Your pal.
Chair Powell, do you know how many tickets are still available?
I think it's sold out.
Senator Moreno.
Senator Moreno, College of Engineering. I want to put you on the spot. What do you think the final score will be?
Oh! That's good. Considering they're ranked 2, we're ranked not, I think this will be 30 to 24 in.
Any other questions for Chair Mendoza? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Powell.
Howdy, Senate. Howdy. Chair Powell, Academic Affairs. I don't have too many updates, but I know that Chair Bates met with a faculty member who has hopefully so. Learning that they changed it from the family instructor. Another thing, I met with another senator about student rule 1 and maybe I met with Michael McGo, the academic affairs and he and I talked about a lot of really great goals and ideas coming here. Academic affairs meetings are going to be on off Wednesdays at 7-ish, and I'll be either here in Florida or yeah, so with that,
Are there any questions for Chair Powell? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Robioso.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So I don't have too many updates either. Right now, I'm still trying to get everybody on the group who didn't attend this last Wednesday. So once I get everyone full, get responses, the meeting time on Thursday, like discussed. I'm still trying to figure out the executive questions follow. And let's go through pending meeting.
Are there any questions for Chair Robioso? Seeing none, thank you. If Chair Chimata would like, she can do a committee report.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you for everyone who voted for me. And I'm really excited to start. But if you ever comment along with me afterward, you can just talk out. And yeah.
Are there any questions for Chair Chimata? Yes, Senator Thompson.
Are you celebrating your victory by going to school?
No, I'm eating panda because I have not eaten all day. For I don't know how long.
Okay, we'll now move into a period of executive reports. starting with Student Body President Amy Sharp. Howdy.
I hope all of you had very good continues to crash your parties in here every other. This one was really fun, so I'm just excited for the year start. A few updates for y'all. Please tell me that y'all heard about the town hall that's happening. So if you don't have that date already, put it in your calendars now. September 8th, 5:30 to 7 in the flag room. SGA will be hosting both President Young and Provost Kennedy for a town hall where students can submit questions and they will answer. So, first time ever in history, the provost and the president are going to do that in front of students live. So super cool opportunity to spread the word. We've got a Facebook event, so go on there and invite your friends. And we'll also kind of like reserve the first couple rows for SGA people, so you'll get to sit right in front. Keep that in mind, put that on your calendar. Another thing, the first SVP roundtable, which is supposed to happen approximately every month, is going to be one that is focused on getting the plans developed for diversity and inclusion. So the ideal situation would be we have our candidate up for confirmation for y'all at the next Senate meeting, and after this roundtable, where we've invited student leaders from all parts of campus, all the way from STEM Aggies to Women in STEM, to Mitch and Karina will be there, and all the multicultural organizations. We're going to have them all in the room, give them the diversity plan that has been developed by me through the team, talking to student leaders, any idea I've ever gotten, passed down from the diversity. We're going to give them that document, which is about 5 pages, and give them all red pens, and have them actually be the ones to edit and revise that plan. That way, the first and primary stakeholders of what SGA is doing for diversity will be the ones making the plan and decisions on how we're going to enforce our plan for diversity. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to set a good tone for us. And I just wanted you to be aware of it. So if you would like an update on how that goes, it's going to be next Friday. You can get that from me. Another thing, I think at D-Day, Development Day. Okay, yeah, D-Day. Sorry. At Development Day, Mitch probably told you about the idea that was proposed about going to speak at meetings with one senator and one exec member. Nod your head if that's a couple people. So just for those who don't know, we want to actually get in front of students as much as possible instead of expecting them to come to us. So we want to, similar to like how I would do during campaign, contact student organizations and say, hey, can we have 5 minutes to come speak as an outside announcement? So instead of saying come to our 5K, we're going to say, here, take a note card. If you have a suggestion, write it down. Have a concern already with an organization you want to bring to us, do so, or just let us know how we can best serve you. So the plan for that is for every organization that would like a speaker, we'll have one member of cabinet and one member of Senate that will go speak. And ideally, if it's Student Engineering Council, we'll have someone from the Engineering Caucus as the person to speak with the exec person. So if that's something you're interested in, ideally the next Senate meeting, but if not the one after that for sure, we will have signups for you at the meeting, so that way you can see like what times different organizations are meeting and how that's. And the last thing is yesterday morning, my cabinet and top staff had a breakfast with President Young's cabinet just to kind of share with them some of the plans for SGA and some of the common themes that we're interested in this year and working towards. And it was a really great moment for SGA because after, I think a lot of faces came into that room with his cabinet with this feeling of this is an obligation I have to be at, and it was kind of negative, whereas at the end, multiple people on his cabinet, the provost included, said that they felt like there is a reinstilled faith in what SGA can do for our campus. So I think that's a really good way for us to kick off the year and get early. That's it.
Are there any questions for SPP Sharp? Chair Powell.
Chair Powell, after your first, you can have a list available of all the
SVP roundtable?
Yeah.
Yes, we're still getting RSVPs. So we have the invite list and we're working on the attending list.
Is it possible to get a copy of that invite list?
Yeah. Talk to me.
talk to Valentina after.
Yeah, Valentina is the one that is in charge of coordinating it.
Any other questions for SPP Sharp? Seeing none, thank you. Chief Justice Newman.
So I had intended this to be, how do you say it?
Howdy.
I had intended this to be a bit more comprehensive, but with a quick look at what your face is. I'll decide to parse this out over maybe a few of the next Senate meetings. Use that time there. So briefly reintroducing myself, student senate, I'm Chief Justice of Judicial Court. Judicial Court had our first meeting yesterday, talked about a number of things, namely decided upon Vice Chief Justice, which I had actually decided upon in May. The last time I spoke in front of the and I mentioned mine. That person is Ryan Woolsey, great guy. He's going to work very closely with me. I'm a very busy person this year, so he's going to be working in my position and out of my position. So I may be the face of judicial. What people call as the Chief Justice. That a Chief Justice will need to do as well, given my schedule. And as well, I believe it's very important to be empowering the people around you. So anytime you have the opportunity to have someone who's competent in their duties and what they can do, empower that person, an opportunity to develop and give them responsibilities so they can learn. Two other positions within the court, treasurer and secretary, were as well decided, and I went over my vision. So I won't go over the entire vision, but I do want to read very briefly what I wrote as the mission for judicial court as I understand the court. The mission is stated as utilize and improve upon a legal process made for students' connection, student government association, in order to better promote good and fair relations between students, while also providing an opportunity to justices and judicial advocates to develop themselves as leaders and future electors. So that last part I'm going to hit on two parts about that mission statement. One is to provide that service to the Student Government Association, which is for fairness, justice, is follow it to the letter. But at the same time, just as it is here in Student Senate where you all pass bills, this is sort of like we had at Corps Cadets over here with all 2,500 people, is it's a leadership laboratory for each and every one of us. So while I recognize that we in judicial court serve our purpose within student government, they serve an individual purpose as well in offering that opportunity to develop themselves as leaders and prepare for the global leadership challenge. Okay. We also went over the judicial court calendar that I've created so that we have a good idea of what we'll be able to do this semester. Since this is our quote unquote off season typically, then we'll be able to fit hopefully in 3 mock trials already in our schedule. So we should be prepared anytime we have a case. JAG selections will be completed by 25 September. We'll be ready to go. We split into 3 separate groups, 2 for preparing for 2 mock trials and a third for revising the bylaws if such revision. I'll end with one of my major priorities this year within student government as a judicial court, and that is to further involve judicial court in SGA. In my past 2 years, and that experience has shown me that we are generally separated from the student senate and from the executive branch. I have kind of an understanding why, and it's the way that the judicial branch is created within student governments, and that's typical across a lot of the other students in the nation as well. So it's sort of by design, but at the same time, I would like to find a way to further involve these great people that we have within the court, the people that Student Vice President Sharp selected, and then you as the Senate confirmed. They're great people, very smart people, very capable, do a lot of things for student government, and I don't want to leave those sitting in judicial court and not able to do anything for students. So this year I want to find a way to better utilize them, and I can use y'all if you have any ideas to further integrate judicial court, our third branch of government, into what SGA does for Texas.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Chair Wilson.
Chair Wilson, rules and regulations. How are your senior boots feeling, Chief Justice Newman?
They're pretty good. They're not too hard to pull off for the fish, so they like them.
Pro Tem Banks.
Pro Tem Banks. So since the J Court justices were selected in part because of their impartiality and their decision-making skills, has there been a lot of interaction with?
Policing, I have not touched on that issue. I'll be honest, I have not discussed that issue. I think that's one good way to further integrate judicial court members. Yeah, and that was done last year as well. So, for example, I myself is on the Disciplinary Appeals Committee. I'm not aware of applications being available for those sort of things yet. I have not received any information. That is certainly one way we can become more involved in the university. So, at the same time, yes, we need university involvement, but again, my priority is still to see us more involved in student government. That's an easy fix, right? I just tell my justices, okay, here's some university applications, fill them out, get involved, great things to do. But the student government piece is a little more difficult because it's not.
Chair Wilson?
Chair Wilson, Rules and Regulations. Chief Justice Newman, will you be attending Subco since Exec and IA are going to be joining you on the core run on Friday?
No. I have a bet calling my name.
Senator Barbary.
Senator Barbary on campus, might I suggest having one of the justices go also with the senator and exec person to all those organization meetings?
Can you repeat the question? Which organization?
So the meetings SVP Sharp mentioned earlier, with how she wants to have a senator and that person.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So that's one really good way that we can and involve judicial court and SGA, which is to actually have them have similar involvement that Senate and executive do in their interactions in the organizations that they have. That's one easier way. I see it as something important, but still not striking at what I see as the critical problem, which is fully serving the student body in that judicial capacity. That's the difficulty I'm having with moving forward. But again, that's another piece of further involving them with the university and getting maybe more representation of within judicial. That's another little thing that we can do to move the ball forward.
Are there any other questions for the presenter? Seeing none.
Thank you.
All right, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that was able to make it out to Silver Caps last night. We'll be sending the resolution along with the handwritten letters from development day to the family hopefully tomorrow. But thank you again for everyone that was able to go. Sending in legislation, I know I dropped the ball on this, I should have said at development day, but per the code, legislation is due to myself or Pro Tem Banks by 7 on Sundays. So if you'd like for it to be on the agenda, please get it in by 7. That's attending committee meetings. I know all the chairs talked about their committee meetings. Make sure you go to those. Those are absences if you don't go, and that's where a lot of the legislation is formulated. So each chair has at least one bill, one initiative that they're working on right now. So all of you guys can hit the ground running with legislation and really serve a part, like early on in the session. Speaking of absences, a way to get rid of absences is speaking at committee or speaking at university organization meetings. So going to the executive cabinet to these meetings is a way to get rid of your absences, like absencing out. Speaking of absencing out, we have, I think, 13 vacancies right now, 14 vacancies in Senate, and those elections will be coming up soon. I don't know if you guys have seen the emails from the election. If you guys have friends that you think would be interested in serving the student body and student senate, please encourage them to run. Please help them if they need help with anything about a platform or how to run. You guys all got here somehow, so help them, share with them what your experience is, so we can get some more senate. And on the last little note about legislation, a lot of people have reached out about some good initiatives and wanting to start some legislation, but I really just want to make sure that we are researching and creating relationships with people that it will affect. So a lot of good ideas and a lot of like good progress, but the last thing I want from this session is to be passing stuff where administration or exec or people are not informed about it, because ultimately it's not going to get implemented. So make sure that if you don't know who to talk to, come talk to a chair, come talk to myself. We can put you in contact with the right people. There's university administration wants to get involved with the stuff that we're working on, and like SVP Sharp mentioned, their eyes are open to SGA right now. So it's up to us to mend those relationships that may have been broken. So please research, please reach out if you need help with contacts. We know people all across the university to help you guys with that. Last thing is, as Chairman Mendoza mentioned, we have closing this weekend. This is an awesome game. I hope you guys my roommate works for the football team, and so we should all think we can win. I hope to see you guys all out there, and let's beat the dog.
Are there any questions for Mr. Parker? Senator Meany.
So you said you'll look out for the email from the election commissioner that sends our friends, they want to.
Yes, so the election commissioner sent out one email already with some information, but I'm sure she'll be sending out more. The important dates are there's an informational for freshmen to go and learn about the positions, and there's also a mandatory candidates meeting. So make sure they go to that to understand how to run and all the rules for running. But we really need to see those 14 positions filled. It's really important that we have the most time.
Any other questions? Senator
Architectural engineering, do you happen to know which caucus lacking the most number, like senators?
Off campus is lacking the most. Some other ones have one position available. I think if you guys would like, I can send out those numbers so that you guys know.
Are there any other questions for Speaker Parker? Senator Moreno.
Senator Moreno, college engineering, also push on the spot. What do you think?
So I don't think that Jimbo is going to let us down and let us score like less than 2 points. And I'm also really confident in our defense. But I think it's going to be 28 to 24.
Any more questions for Speaker Parker? All right, move into closing roll call. Speaker Pro Tem Banks. Please stay in order, we're almost done.
Please stay in order. All right, please stay in order.
All right, let's keep this quiet. I'll be done quick. SVP Sharp. Howdy. Chief Justice Newman.
Howdy.
Peter Parker. Howdy. Chair Wilson.
Howdy.
Chair Mandel.
Howdy.
Chair Walter.
Howdy.
Chair Mendoza.
Howdy.
Chair Powell.
Howdy.
Chair Robinson. Chair Shimada. Senator Meany.
Howdy.
Senator Barber.
Howdy.
Senator Benke.
Howdy.
Senator Berger. Senator Black. Senator Carlson.
Howdy.
Senator Carter. Senator Castellanos.
Howdy.
Hey, talking, stop. Senator Collard.
Howdy.
Senator Day. Senator Gray.
Howdy.
Senator Elizondo. Senator Fisher.
Howdy.
Senator Lieberman.
Howdy.
Senator Dalton. Senator Gupta.
Howdy.
Senator Aurora. Senator Hitchman. Senator Hall.
Howdy.
Senator Hitchman. Senator Crone. Senator Lopez. Senator Maldonado.
Howdy.
Senator Macias.
Howdy.
Senator Maples. Senator Martin. Senator McGill. Senator Alejandro Moreno. Senator Luis Moreno.
Howdy.
Senator Musa. Senator Nabila. Senator Nava.